You're watching The Buzz with Jess Lujan.
Good evening, Guam. I'm Jess Lujan. Welcome to this edition of The Buzz. Exciting evening tonight. I've got a good friend, of course, Senator Dennis Rodriguez, my favorite Democrat.
Thank you so much, Senator.
How are you doing this evening?
I'm great, thank you.
Hey, let's talk about this, and let's just get to the point here. The reason why I asked you here, because there is a bill, Bill 20 actually, that evolved from the 4% to, as you designated at the very beginning, 4% charge to the health insurance companies. Of course, it had its public hearing. You amended that bill. You pull that back. The number may remain Bill number 20. You looked at Bill 26, I think 2652, Bill Public Law 2652, Public Law 2777, which was previously cited in Bill number 19 as possible source of income to the hospital. And then you get accused of trying to legalize gambling here in Guam.
That's right. You know, and it really saddens me, Senator, you know, that the main thing here with Bill 20, when I first introduced it in January, was to help our ailing hospital. Sure. Our hospital has been in debt with its vendors over $20 million. And, you know, the management had said that this is the single most important threat that the hospital is facing. And so we worked very hard to make sure to see how we could resolve this. And of course, the first proposal, as you said, was the assessment on 4% on health insurance premiums. Sure. And you know, we can set another day to speak about that. But
and I was one of your biggest critics.
That's right. That's right. And you know, and I respected that. But you know, the health insurance companies have huge qualifying certificates now. They don't pay GRT income tax, you know. But we heard them because you know, I think they scared and threatened our public enough that people said, you know, we're not going to absorb this brunt. So then we saw an opportunity. Recently, the government issued licenses for these gaming devices that for 5 years were not in operation because they were held up in court battles. And so when I saw that opportunity, you know, I know that the potential these machines can make, because I ran them before in my private sector experience in the past. Sure. You know, and so I said, okay, this is something that we're going to go after and capture. And we've even, instead of the 4% now they're paying in GRT, which they've been paying since they've been operating back in 1998, we're adding another 4% to make it 8%. So we're saying all of their GRT, this special 4%, the licensing fees, the income taxes will all go to the hospital. Sure. And so now I think there's critics out there that have spin the truth, and saying now that I'm legalizing gambling.
And you're exactly right. And let me go, because this is something I have great knowledge on. And matter of fact, in the 27th Guam legislature, I was part of course, that body that codified actions of the 26th Guam legislature. A previous bill, Bill number 19, basically the title of the bill, Bill number 19, says an act to amend Chapter 7, Title 3, Guam Administrative Rules and Regulations relative to capturing license fees and taxes from gaming operators. Okay, so happened that one of your biggest critics that wanted to put this bill back in committee was Senator B.J. Cruz. He signed on as second co-author to this, and of course this bill kind of designates that monies, actually they upped it from 4% to 20% to go to the Mayor's Council, Repair, Construction, Village, Recreational Facilities, Parks and Recreation, again for those facilities, Department of Education, again for its athletic facilities. So I'm going, they're designating the same thing, upping it from 4 to 20%. It's okay if BJ introduces a bill or co-authors a bill and it's not a gambling bill. You've taken a source that in the 26th Guam legislature, under Democratic majority, under Ben Pangilinan, who happened to be a part of the minority at the time, 26th Guam legislature, but on the 27th, he was the speaker that codified the actions of the 26th legislature. On the 26th, Bill 139, authored by Senator Frank Agun Jr., you're serving with him, and I served with him as well. An act to repeal and reenact Title IX, and basically it's that it to promulgate rules and regulations regarding from the Cockpit Licensing Board. Okay, promulgate necessary rules and regulations to create a comprehensive regulatory scheme to regulate all gaming activities on Guam, provided that rules and regulations shall restrict gaming activities to those authorized and licensed on Guam as of August 1st, 2001. The 27th Guam legislature came in and codified that on Bill number 49, basically with that. And at the 27th Guam legislature, it was headed, of course, by the Speaker Ben Pangilinan, who was quoted here as saying, "We're trying to rush the issue of legislating these machines before the AG can complete his actions." He described the bill as a bill that legalizes gambling in the guise of helping the hospital. It burdened the same people that we're trying to help. Well, wait a minute. His actions, part of his actions in 26 and 27 Guam legislation, basically codified this. You're taking their previous action and saying, "Hey, I want to tap into this source of funding."
That's right, and that's very important to note, is that I'm not messing with the existing statutes that have been that have been put in place, as you have said. All we're saying now is that these devices that are legal, because and
they're currently licensed.
Yes, they're licensed. These operators went to Rev and Tax, went there and applied for a license and got a license, and so they're operating. All I'm saying is now, take those revenues and help our hospital. And this thing about what's the rush, this problem with the hospital has going on for years. I've introduced this bill, of course, with another source of funding in January. Right now, our hospital has accumulated, just this fiscal year alone, has accumulated over $500,000 in interest payments alone.
Sure.
One company alone is telling the hospital they're going to start charging them $48,000 a month on interest alone. And so, when people say, "What's the rush?" The rush is there. We got to take care of our hospital, make sure they have the resources to take care of our people.
Well, I guess the rush is that they seek health care elsewhere, as opposed to the people who have to seek health care here and don't have a choice. And what baffles me in this whole thing, Senator, is and one of the reasons I asked you here is because they got to give credit where credit is due with this thing. If they want to say something has been legalized, well, it was done so at a direction via the 26th Guam legislature, okay? Public Law 2652, that is, okay? And that bill, okay, had unanimous vote, 15-0, okay? And some of the people that were there in the 26th Guam legislature, of course, were Senator Ben Pangilinan was there, okay? Senator Tom Ada, he was consistent action in his vote. He didn't want to send it back to committee, right? Okay. Senator Pangilinan, Senator Wampat, Frank Uggan, Tom Ada, of course. Oh, Senator Lujan Guerrero. That's Jackie Marati's boss. She happened to be there actually in the 27th Guam legislature as well when they codified the actions of the 26th Guam legislature. And they even brought the bishop down to say, "Hey, watch out what you're doing because you're hurting the people of Guam." Yeah,
and that's what really saddens me and hurts me is that they've, I don't, for what reason, I don't know, but they've really twisted and spun the truth. The Archbishop, I've met with him on Sunday. I went to see him because I was very concerned that perhaps he didn't know exactly what this bill's about, and so I explained to him, and told him, just like I'm telling the people of Guam, that this bill is to take advantage of existing machines that are authorized in law prior to my bill.
Sure. Yeah.
These have been in operation for many years. They were these particular machines were not licensed for 5 years because they were in court.
Sure.
But in April or early this year, the Attorney General's office and the parties have dropped the lawsuit.
Yeah.
And then after they dropped the lawsuit, Rev and Tax issues the licenses, and now the AG is coming back and saying, these are illegal devices. I mean, they failed the past 5 years. They've held our government hostage for the past 5 years to take advantage and collect revenue. Now they want to hold the hospital hostage because they don't want to, they're saying these are illegal. We're going to take it back to court. Are we going to wait another 5 years?
I don't think so. I mean, the hospital can't wait a couple more months, actually. Clarify something for me. Legalized gambling versus unlegalized gambling, because Jackie Marati is quoted here, the longer term cost of legalized gambling will be a higher crime rate, poverty, and domestic violence. This is from Jackie Marati in her quote. Keep Guam Good. Dr. Jose Cruz testified as well, not in favor of your bill because supposedly legalized gambling. Now, wait a minute, legalized gambling. Don't we have a a legalized casino now for the next couple of months?
That's right. This is the first year that we have it for 2 months.
For 2 months, yeah.
2 months. We have a 24-hour
24 hours,
casino.
yeah.
We have
And
all
rightfully so.
forms.
And rightfully so. So the vendor can recoup, I guess the onset of his capital outlay, right?
That's right. And so I wonder, why is this proceeds from this casino good for the nonprofit? I believe it's Guma Mami who's taken advantage of it. And why is it not good for the hospital? If they're saying that these are gambling devices, these are illegal, it just doesn't make sense. It makes me question now and say, why? Why is there so much impediment in trying to help our hospital?
Yeah, no, I'm just wondering because, legalized gambling, you said the longer effect. I wonder if, I think it started last week, right? They had a soft opening, I think it was, okay. Wondering if, we can attribute the higher crime rate to that. Poverty, I wonder if it took a sharp spike on that. I'm wondering if domestic violence took a sharp spike on that as well, in the last couple of weeks as a result of that legalized casino gambling going on up there. And like you said, these machines at one time, it goes back maybe 6 years ago or something, they were licensed. There was a challenge, the court challenge that, of course, it sat in court for 5 years. And one of the reasons why I guess that they dropped the cases is that where's it going? And then the discovery of 2652. And they discovered that based on Bill number 19. We'll talk more about that when we come back. Be right back.